emotional religion. And that is the scenario we took over when we obtained our independence in 1957. And at that time, we also have a very dangerous communist insurgency, communist uprising, who wanted to take over Malaysia and turn it into a communist country. And we were in a very turbulent world. You know, we have all sorts of democracies there. We have guided democracy, we have socialist democracy, we have communist democracy. We have all sorts of democracy. But ladies and gentlemen, we are very lucky, we're very blessed. Our founding fathers was led by a man called Tengku Abdul Rahman, who later on became the first Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Conference, subsequently. Now, this man and his colleagues at the time, including various leaders representing the various races, they were steeped in democratic traditions, democratic principles, who really believed that a country belongs to its people. You know, a country belongs to its people, no compromise there. And the wealth of a country belongs to its people, which means that a government must do the right thing. All right, so they're all steeped in, thank God, you know, the British traditions of fair play, democracy, and so on. So they chose constitutional monarchy. We have 9 sultans, the biggest number in the whole world. You know, you have only about 7 or so. We have 9. You know? All right, and so constitutional monarchy, Westminster type of democracy, rule of law. Right from the first day, we were sure what we wanted, 1957. Rule of law, independent judiciary, free market economy, open market economy, free enterprise system, no socialism and things like that. We were in a very turbulent world, all socialist, communist, military dictatorship, guided democracy, but we chose, you know, free enterprise system. Okay, so we have all this freedom we give to the people, but at the same time, we have all these diversities and sensitivities and so on. How does a government handle this situation? We have the perfect recipe for disaster. You know, what's happening in Iraq and here and there would have been picnic compared to what could have happened to Malaysia if we had been careless or if we had irresponsible leaders at that time. So, good. We had the most important ministry, Ministry of Information, was headed by the Prime Minister himself. How important it was. And we had departments of information in every district, every village, to tell the people that they have to behave. They are so different, they have to take care of the sensitivities of each other. They must help each other, live like one family. You know, the leaders have made a compact to live as one family. The people also must do so. It's easier said than done, all right? But what is most important, ladies and gentlemen, why the miracle of Malaysia happened, the miracle of Malaysia happened, is because the people of Malaysia, of all the races, somehow or other were convinced when they look at the face of our founding father, Tengku Abdul Rahman, his face, other people, other names, big names, the founding fathers, they trusted them. They believed them. That these are leaders who really believe that the country belongs to the people, nobody else. It doesn't belong to any king, any general, any dictator, but it belongs to the people. That's very, very important. Number 2, you know, they also convinced that the leaders sincerely agree that the wealth of the country, we were #1 rubber producing country in the world, #1 tin producing country in the world at that time. We are now also the #1 oil palm producing country in the world. We also have a lot of oil and gas, alhamdulillah. All right? But at that time, the people believe that the leaders agree that this wealth all belongs to the people, which means that, you know, they believe that the leaders will use this wealth in a transparent way, in a fair way for the benefit of the people. Then, ladies and gentlemen, communication, propaganda, government propaganda becomes very easy, very credible and so on. So the government, the people believe in whatever the government said. The people followed whatever the government wanted them to do. And so in spite of having a major explosion, racial strife, religious strife, cultural strife and so on, we slowly molded these different people into a Malaysian nation, which is unity in diversity. You know, we become united even though we are so diverse and so on, because the people trusted the government. If they do not trust the government, you can do whatever you want to do, they won't believe. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Not only that, because the people trusted the government and they believe in the government communication, they believe the way the government engaged with the people, even economically also, we became very successful. You know, we are now the sixth, even though the population is just 28 million people, but we are now the 17th biggest trading nation in the world, and many number one and so on. It's basically because the government has been very successful in communicating it what they want, you know, to the people, the government engaging with the people. But it could not have happened. It could not have happened if the government did not accept the fundamental rights of the people. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole world now is in revolt. It is not only the Arab Spring. We also lately heard about the Moscow Spring. And lately there's also another kind of spring. Wall Street Spring. So Wall Street Spring. So even capitalism also, and extreme democracy also has its problems and so on. All right. And now the government doesn't anymore have the monopoly of the communication strategy. The people have it all in their hand now. You know, everybody seems to have a mobile on his hand. They can click and get news from Al Jazeera, from Bernama News of Malaysia. They can get all the stories everywhere. And they can also find ways and means to hear their opinions also heard and so on. So I can say, I have been following our debate, our discussion for the last 2 days. I must congratulate the Kingdom of Sharjah for organizing this conference. Very good. Congratulations. And they have invited experts from all over the world to say things freely, to debate things freely. Obviously, it's a government who really wants to find ways and means to find the right formula, the best way to communicate with his people, so that springs doesn't happen here or elsewhere, you see. So, congratulations. But let me conclude by saying, we can have all the strategies that we want. The people now have access to their own information and also communication from anywhere. So whatever strategy we can have, it can be successful. We will have the desired effect, and also have the adverse effect. But the most important thing for a government is no running away from it. There's no running away. Please, you cannot run away from it anymore. You cannot steal anymore the rights and liberties of the people. So, do things right and we'll be okay. Thank you very much.